Today we're going to be working in the Wick animator to use motion tweens to animate our name or our initials. I have the first part of the animation done here, and I will show you what that looks like. If I'm in the animation and I press enter, each letter comes in. It takes 1 second for each letter to animate. They animate from different directions, and then the name stops and sits there for 1 second before the animation repeats. We'd like to do more with this later on, but this is step one. So if you take a look at my timeline, I have each letter into its own layer, and then I'm using these keyframes that are diamonds, which represent tweens in Wick Animator. Tweens means that where you see this arrow here, those frames are being dictated by the computer. So if I move this A down here, you can see that that arrow is the computer's deciding those frames. So let's get started making this. I will start with a new animation project here, and I will begin by grabbing my text tool. I will add some text and put in my first letter. If I want to manipulate that text, I click on my cursor tool or this arrow pointer here and select it. I can transform it by grabbing a corner. I can also come over here to the inspector and change my font size. I can change the font style, however I want to change it. So get that set to the way that you want, because you will be copying and pasting that letter to create the other letters. Down here on my timeline, I have my layer listed, and I want to click on that layer and call it the layer P. Because each of our letters will be created or animated separately, they need to be created in their own layers. So one of the first rules of animating on a computer is if you want two objects to be animated separately, they need to be in separate layers. So I will select this P and hit Control-C on my keyboard to copy it. I'm going to now make my next letter. So before I put that on the stage, I want to click on this plus sign to make a new layer. I will name this A. And then here in that layer on the first frame, I'm going to click a plus and then Control-V. Let's put that where it needs to be. And I will click on my letter A here and change that to an A. Let me grab my cursor. Now, if I'm not sure what's where, one thing I can do is hide the layer. And you see I accidentally put that letter A in that layer and letter P's there. So those labels aren't going to help. I will move by clicking and dragging that layer A up. I'm just going to fix the names. So don't worry if that happens. On a computer, anything can be fixed. So let's make a new layer. And if your layers aren't showing up as small as mine, down here at the bottom, there's this looks like a little set of mountains. If you click on that, you can set that frame size of your project to the smaller amount here. And you can also come in between your timeline and your stage and bring that up if you need space to see them. Okay, this layer is going to be the U. Okay, let's make a new frame here. Hit Control-V. Let's make sure that the one I have, okay, that's the one that's on the U. So let's change this to the U. Reorder these a little bit here. I'm moving them around with the arrow keys on my keyboard. And one more layer for the L. If you have 4 or 5 letters, you can do your whole first name. If you have a long first name, you can do the 3 letters of your initial if you'd like. All right, so we need to move that out here. There we go. A little odd that it pastes that layer, it looks like, in the bottom. I think that's part of the issue. Mixing up your layers. All right, so now I should be able to, whoopsie, what are we doing here? Let's change that. All right, I can get these all lined up the way that you want. And again, you want to go back in and click on your little, there's the L, the U, the A, and the P. All right, good. So now we're going to use motion tweening to make these letters come in. We want each letter to come in from a different direction. Tweening allows the computer to decide the in-between frames, where you would normally just put those in-between frames in yourself. You're going to let the computer do that for you. We want each frame to come in, each letter to come in through 12 frames or 1 second. So I'm going to come out here to 12, add a frame there, and now the P is going to be there for a frame. Now, I'm going to change this over, this keyframe here, clicking on this diamond. Click on here and click on the diamond, and you see I get this dotted line. It's because it's wanting to know, okay, what do you want to tween it to? Here's where you're starting your tween. Where do you want to end it? So I will come to the end of here and put another diamond. This arrow says I have a tween now, meaning that the computer will determine the frames in between. Move my playhead back to the beginning, and now I can just move this off, and now the computer is going to make those move. Now notice the other letters are gone away because they don't have any frames into here. Okay? And now that's gone. Why? Because I didn't have a keyframe there. Well, that's easily enough to solve. I can just copy that and click on that frame and hit paste. I probably actually want to extend this because I don't want the letter P to go away, and I want to go actually out to 60 because this whole thing is going to last 5 seconds. So now, if I press enter, the P comes in and then sits there. Perfect. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to bring this out now. I can start this at 12, and I can put a tween in here. Let's extend this farther now. It's going to start at 12 and go to 24. It'll be the second. And at the end here, let's put a tween frame in. So now I have this arrow. If you don't have the arrow, you're not going to have the tween. Make sure you come back to here. I'm going to move my letter A off. So now the A is going to tween. The P tweens and then the A tweens. And I just keep going from here. And I can put that into here so that it stays there. All right, now I'm going to try this here. Let's make this go the whole way. That's to 60. This is to 60, so it stays there. All right, good enough. Let's come back into here. Now, let's put another frame here. See, we're going to start right here. We'll put in a tween here. It's going to go to 36. Tween. Good. U's going to come out from the bottom. Good. And now my L. Let's take that all the way over. Let's just put a regular keyframe here. It's blank, so let's come back. Ooh, that's backwards. Whoopsie-doo. So that needs to be off of here. And then when I have it to be here, that needs to be there. Okay, let's copy that and put it in here so we have something in that keyframe to stay there. That's right. Okay, one more. And let's put in, we're on U here now, right there in that. Put it in a tween there and go out to 48. And here, what do we want? L is going to come from here. So make sure I go back to that frame. That's where it starts, and then it tweens back. And it's all going to sit there. Let's look at that. Each letter comes in 1 second at a time, and then it sits there. My L could be adjusted a little bit there. Actually, to adjust my L, I can come to this tween here, and I can just click on the L and just use my arrow key. Let's see what that looks like. That's sliding in. Better. All right, that's the main idea to get us started. Good luck. Hope you have fun animating the letters of your names using tweens.